Hi, Samantha here, and today we'll be discussing my Writing to Learn Journal 2. To start off, my TEK is 130.7, Livestock Production. The Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources Career Cluster focuses on the production, processing, marketing, distribution, financing, and development of agriculture commodities and resources, including food, fiber, wood, products, natural resources, horticulture, and other plant and animal products or sources. And then the students will be research career topics using technologies such as internet. So the students will basically be implementing a research topic about livestock production. This gets into reading and writing as language process. This is mainly understanding what you read and knowing how to read it, and how to write and knowing what you are writing about. For instance, when teaching a livestock production class, my students are going to be doing a research paper. They need to know how to research information, read the information, understand the information, and lastly, be able to relay the information through writing. The reading process. So there's two parts to this. The role of prior knowledge. Students should know what livestock is. For example, knowing what that is and then going into talking about swine. So the topic we're going to use is swine. So they should know what is a swine or what is swine. It's a pig. They should be able to know characteristics of it, what it looks like, how it functions, its living spaces, stuff like that. So they need to know things before coming into talking about livestock production. Then we get into also how does this relate to production. Specifically, we could say that a pig or swine relates to livestock production because it can be used for multiple things. For instance, from a pig you can get pork, so you have a food source from that, or you have materials. If you've ever heard someone say, do you want to go throw some pig skin? They're referring to a football, because our football is made from pig skin. So moving on, that gets into the role of purpose in reading. When doing a research product on swine, it is important to have a plan of action. What kind of material do you want to read? How is a website with facts going to be different than a journal about an author who did a study on pigs? When talking about purpose of reading as a teacher, we want the light bulb effect because we want to realize, or we want to know that students have started to understand what they are reading. Then we get into the writing process. This has a few things to think about. First being the role of intention in writing. You can write to inform, persuade, or entertain. If I ask you to research how pigs are important to livestock production, you should be writing a paper to inform me. I want to know facts, and this is where giving supporting details is important. If you were writing to me about why goats are better than pigs, then you are trying to persuade me. You're getting me to lean towards something. Lastly, if you wrote about how a pig can do tricks and can be trained, you're trying to entertain me. There are two kinds of writing. First being transactional writing, which is, for example, essays, summary, encyclopedia entries, or a letter. Secondly, there's expressive, which is a personal journal, a learning log, class notes, or answers to questions. So the research paper would be a transactional, and an expressive writing would be a journal from a student who studied pork and price fluctuation over 2 years. So there's the two examples as to how those different. So transactional would be more of a research paper using specific facts, kind of essay format, or you could be writing a letter to someone about how livestock production is useful. But then expressive is kind of your own opinion. That's what I think of it as, but it's more of your own opinion and how it's on paper. So like I said, a personal journal, it's also your own experience. And then we get into before and after. So when reading or writing, always be prepared. Have a plan. For instance, when writing, you're going to want to have a plan on what you're going to be talking about. And then you also want to know your audience. Who is going to be the one reading it? Who's going to be the one comprehending your thoughts? And then this gets into revise as you go and revise at the end. Revising or editing is always good when writing a paper because you can make changes or fix things as you go, and you can make your thoughts more clear. Lastly, making sense out of content. This is using reading and writing skills to understand livestock production. As a teacher, it is my job to teach content about livestock production, but when in my classroom, the skills that you have learned about reading and writing will not go away. They will be applied to livestock production and even in your everyday life.